To help us gain a better perspective of the amount of work involved with God answering, "Thy will be done," well, we ought to ask ourselves too, well, then how evil is the world? We've already talked a little bit about how evil our sinful natures are, that by nature we are absolute zeros when it comes to loving God. There's not an ounce in us that truly loves God by nature. How evil, how corrupt is the world? With that, where do you see signs that things are not right with the world? Maybe you could talk about that. What evidence do you find in the world that we live in where you can tell, yeah, there's something not right? And especially with people who do not know Jesus. But even with people who claim to know Jesus, we still see some extent of sin. And of course, we've talked about this before. There are hypocrites in the church. So there are people who claim to love Jesus, but in their actions, we begin to sense that maybe they don't truly have faith, although we're not to judge the heart. We leave that to God. What are things we should hope for about them, people that don't know Jesus? And about us in relation to those in the world who reject Jesus. So what hope should we have for them? I'm going to read to you from John 17:15 through 17 to give us some insight into how evil the world is. So maybe that's the question you want to ask. How evil is the sinful influence of the world on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being absolutely evil and 10 being absolutely good. Where does the world fall in that regard? You probably have already gotten a sense, if you judge correctly your sinful nature and how corrupt that is, I'm probably going to apply the same kind of answer to the world. But John 17:15 through 17 says this. Jesus is praying his high priestly prayer on the night that he would be betrayed. We read, "I do not ask you," talking to his Father, "to take them," that would be his disciples or all who believe in him. "I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but to keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them in the truth. Your word is truth." So, protect them. Set them apart as holy to you. How? By my word, by the truth. And then he says, "As you sent me into the world, I also have sent them into the world. I do not ask on behalf of these alone," so the immediate disciples there, "but for those also who believe in me through their word." So that was you and me. "That they may all be one, even as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us, so that the world may believe that you sent me." So how evil is the world? Well, it must be absolutely evil, because Jesus says, "I am not a part of the world, nor are they who follow me. They've been brought and called out of the world. They've been sanctified by the truth." And notice this. Jesus says, "But I don't ask you to take them from the world, because the world needs rescue, just as our own hearts needed rescue." And so what's our view of the world or those in the world? Well, Jesus' view. He says this. He wants us to be his, to be one, united, loving, absolutely having all the characteristics of God in this dark world, so that the world may believe that the Father sent Jesus. That's the goal. So the world is absolutely evil. But notice Jesus has absolute compassion and still wants all people to be saved and wants us to be the light for this dark world. So again, though the world opposes God, and we ask that God would tear down any sinful influence that opposes the world. And wow, what a feat that is, because the world is so diametrically opposed to God. What a job, what a task God has before him in answering that petition. Yet, his goal is not to destroy the people that he came to save, to rescue. He doesn't desire the perishing of people. With that, we got one more video to go to kind of wrap up our discussion on this third petition, "Thy will be done."